What made you stop doing stage hypnosis and start doing therapy work? Which is a very odd question because I never started to do stage hypnosis. I've got a question here from Melbourne, Hypnosis and Nutrition. I would love to know your thoughts on Instagram and Twitter. I know you promote Facebook, but when speaking to the young generation, they use predominantly Instagram. Okay, all right. I'll speak about that in a second, but I'll continue my little story. So I received, like I said, a question about, when did I start doing therapy work as opposed to stage hypnosis? Which is quite strange because I never did stage hypnosis. However, I do have a stage hypnosis story. So I've always thought as a therapist, as a hypnotherapist, that doing stage hypnosis is one of the most courageous things you could possibly do because you're standing in front of a lot of people and you need to entertain them. You need to make sure that not only do you entertain them, but you have to work on the stage as well and make sure that everyone's hypnotized. You have to be watching a lot of things at the same time and really setting yourself up for failure on an epic scale if it doesn't work. So this is what actually happened to me. Hey Deborah, I'll answer your question in a minute. This is what happened to me. So a few years ago, after I presented at the Heartland Hypnosis Conference one particular year in St. Louis, William Mitchell, who runs the Heartland Hypnosis Conference, he's the person in my life who pushes me to do things that I have never done before and to go outside my comfort zone. And so he sent me an email and he said to me, so next time you come to America to present at the Heartland Hypnosis Conference, how about you do some stage hypnosis work as well? And I said, thanks William for your confidence in me, but I don't think so. I don't think I'll be doing any stage hypnosis. That's just not me. I've never thought about doing it. In fact, it's something that I would never do, and I don't think so. So he wrote back and said, that's a real shame because, I think that you've got a real stage presence. And so then I had to think about my answer, which is why did I say no to him? And when it came down to really being honest with myself, the reason that I said no was because I was scared. I was fearful that I would be embarrassed, I would be humiliated, that I wouldn't be able to hypnotize anyone on stage and, I'd be seen as a fraud. And so I thought that's not a good enough reason for me to say no. Here he is giving me an opportunity to do something amazing and I'm saying no because of fears. Now that's not walking my talk. That's not actually demonstrating to the people that I teach that I am prepared to face my own fears. So without further ado and without being able to change my mind, I sent him an email back and said, okay, I'll do it. And so the following April came where I went back to St. Louis and I had every reason as to why not to do the show. First of all, on the day that the show was held, I was holding my first day workshop on my expert therapist system, which was an entire day. And I was also going to teach an entire day the day after. And prior to that, I had taught the whole week at Heartland Hypnosis Conference. I was presenting every day. And the reason that I could have given is, I'm teaching tomorrow, it's a big day. The drive from the venue that I was currently at to the college auditorium that I had to go to do stage hypnosis was nearly a 3-hour drive, just one way. It was 2.5 hours. And so that would mean that I would have to teach the entire day, which takes a lot out of me. I love it, but it takes a lot out of me. And then go on a 2.5-hour drive to the college auditorium and then do something I've never done before, which is stage hypnosis to literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of college students, and then drive back and literally not get back until the early hours of the morning, and then teach again the next day for a whole day for my expert therapist system in St. Louis. And so I had every reason to give myself as to why I should say, no, look, it's just too much, I can't handle it. But I said yes, and I did it. And so if you like, what I'll do at the end of this is I'll actually put a link, because it was filmed, my stage hypnosis hint. And you know, as soon as we arrived there, it was like a bit of overwhelm, because it was a huge auditorium. So imagine a lecture theatre, because this is what it was. It was at a college campus in some remote town in America. And the auditorium was full of college students. Julie's saying, I love a challenge. Not really, not really. And not this much of a challenge. But you know what I thought? I thought to myself, what's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is they'll laugh their heads off at me as opposed to with me. So, you know, so what if they laugh their heads at me as opposed to with me? And so when I actually just about to go up the stage, as I was about to go up the stairs, I had this thought in my head, and the thought in my head was, I can't possibly fail because I'm on purpose. This is my path. My path is all about challenging myself and overcoming the biggest obstacles, excuse me. And so I can't possibly fail. It has to be successful, because this is what I'm supposed to be doing in life. So how can I fail? And so when I got up on the stage, without even thinking about it, I automatically went into my power stance. And so my power stance is a stance that I'm used to when I used to go running. And I used to feel very powerful when I used to run in the rain, and everybody else was all rugged up in jackets and coats and everything. And I'd be there with my singlet running through the rain thinking, you know, the weather elements are not going to, stop me from exercising and from running in the rain. And it's such an empowering feeling. If you've ever done that, if you've ever run in the freezing cold rain and it's pouring rain and everyone else is rugged up and in the car with their coats, you feel really powerful and strong because you're not cold, you're hot, you're wearing a little singlet, and it's like, you know, indestructible. Nothing can get in your way. That's how it feels. So as I went up the stairs to do the stage hypnosis show, I actually had that feeling of power just rush through my body, and I took my power stance. And my power stance is pretty much with my hands on my hips, and just assume the position of, okay, let's do this. And I did it. I could not believe it. There must have been, 30 people on stage that I had to do stage hypnosis on, 30 people. There were, 600 people watching. And the first time I've ever done that in my life. And it didn't matter, because I just felt that it wasn't me doing it. It was some spirit or something that had joined forces with me to help me do whatever I needed to do. And during that time, I felt very powerful, very empowered, very in control, and like I was calling the shots on the stage. And the feeling of getting clapped at the end was just something else. And so I had proven to myself that the thing that I considered to be the most fearful and the most scary and the most, that I would never in my life do something like that and put myself in that position, I did. And it was, I couldn't believe it that I did it. I really couldn't believe it, especially because I had all the reasons as to why not to do it. So I want to run through the 3 top mindset tricks that basically help me power through and overcome my own fears. Julie's saying, doesn't even Beyonce have her alter ego that she uses on stage? Well, thank you very much, Julie. I'll take that as a compliment that you compared me to Beyonce, who I think is the most beautiful woman on earth, by the way. Yes, and I'm sure she does have her alter ego when she gets on stage. They all do, don't they? But I guess the difference is that Beyonce knew what she was doing, whereas I didn't. So, in terms of what my 3 power tools are in terms of overcoming my fears, because there's lots of things I've done in my life where I was petrified of it. starting my own business, seeing really challenging clients who were very, very, very challenging and who really pulled me up on anything where I seemed to falter in anything. And of course, they were my best teachers. Writing my book, executing now. HypnoFit licenses is a scary time for me at the moment. Doing keynotes in America, doing keynotes in New Zealand, doing a keynote as the keynote speaker in Chicago last October. I hadn't even prepared for that yet, and I basically learnt it on the plane trip as I was going to Chicago. Scared the crap out of me. I was petrified. So there's a lot of things that I've done that have really scared the crap out of me. So these are the 3 tools that I have used where, irrespective of how scared and terrified I am, I still move forward and I still do it anyway. So the first thing is, number 1 is ask yourself, when you say no to an opportunity, ask yourself, what's the real reason that I'm saying no to this opportunity? So that's what actually happened when William Mitchell asked me to do the stage hypnosis show. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. And my first answer was, I'm not doing that because I don't want to do that. That's not something I want to do. It's not in my plans. I don't have to do that. It's not like it's going to further my career in any way. So no, I'm not doing that. But then I asked myself the question, well, what's the real reason that I'm saying no to this opportunity? Because it is an opportunity. There's no doubt about it. So why am I saying no? And the answer was, because I'm scared. I'm scared of failing, in front of so many people. And that's the reason. So I asked myself that first question. The second thing that I put to myself is, so why is someone else more capable than me of doing that? Why? What makes them more capable than me of actually doing that? If they can do it, I can do it. Why can't I? And that comes really from the past for me. I went to a secondary school that had very, very bad results for their students. Our teachers were very bad, demotivated. And I was in an area where it was full of, elite private schools, but my parents couldn't afford to send me to an elite private school, so I went to the local high school, which was of a low standard. And when I was at school, I would say to myself, why should they be able to get to university and I can't? No reason. So I just need to study and do my own thing, and I don't need to listen to what the teachers are saying to me. I just need to get hold of the curriculum and teach myself. There's no reason why that girl who's wearing that school uniform because she goes to that elite school and has that teacher is actually smarter than me. I don't believe she is. So all I need to do is put in the effort and I will get the same results, and that's what happened. So that's the second mindset trick that I've always used, and that comes from my high school years of asking myself, that person's no better than me, that person's no smarter than me, so if they can do it, I can do it. Of course I can. The third thing is asking yourself, what's the alternative? If I keep saying no to opportunities, where is that going to leave me? It's basically going to leave me here in my comfort zone, which is comfortable, but it's not where I want to stay because it's not how I grow and it's not how I move forward. So they're my 3 mindset tools that I use. The first one is ask yourself, what is the real reason that you're saying no to this opportunity? Be honest, and you'll find that the real reason is fear. Same with people that say no to doing my ultimate hypnotherapist system, in terms of the retreat. What are they scared of? They're scared of that they are not going to put in the effort. They're scared that they're not going to implement. They're not scared that it's not quality. They're not scared that they're not going to be given what they've asked for, because they know they have, because the runs are on the board with everybody else who's done it. What they're scared of is their own lack of implementation or their own fears. Okay? So that's the first thing. Ask yourself, what's the real reason that I am saying no to opportunities? Secondly, why is someone else more capable than me? There's no reason as to why someone else is more capable than you. I'm not more capable than you. We're all equally as capable to get the job done and to do whatever it takes. And number 3, what's the alternative? The alternative is to be stuck in your comfort zone. So I hope that's given you plenty of food for thought in terms of recognizing your own fears and making sure that you are the living example and not the talking example. Everybody can talk about stuff and say, oh, this is what you should be doing, you should overcome your fears and you should live your truth and you should do this and you should do that. But are you actually doing it? Are you actually living by example? And that's what you need to do. So I hope that's been helpful. Now, Deborah has asked a question earlier on in this live, so I'll answer it for her. So Deborah said she knows that I promote the use of Facebook, but what do I think of Instagram and Twitter? So when I first started my business, I went on everything: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, the works. And, I had to manage my time in terms of what gives me my best value, what is my best bang for my buck. And Facebook is absolutely where my target market hangs out. So my target market hangs out on Facebook, and that's why I use Facebook as the #1 medium. However, it doesn't mean that I'm not on Twitter. It doesn't mean that I'm not on Instagram. It doesn't mean that I'm not on LinkedIn. It just means I'm less active there. So I believe that with social media, you need to have a toe everywhere, but be most active to what is working for you at that moment. And then when the time comes that it's no longer working for you, you've already got a toe in Instagram, you've already got followers elsewhere, and so you can quickly revert if you need to. So that's my opinion. Yes, the younger crowd are on Instagram as opposed to Facebook. So if your target market is a younger audience, then that's where you need to be. For my target market, they're mostly hypnotherapists and they're mostly hanging out on Facebook. And so, like I said, it doesn't mean I'm not on Instagram. If you want to see my Instagram profile, I am Helen Midas Hypno Guru. That's how you find me, Helen Midas Hypno Guru. And I think on Twitter it's Hypnosis Business Success. And on LinkedIn, I'm Helen Midas. So I am everywhere, but I spend most time where I get the most value. And so that's where I spend the most time. Now, if Facebook crashed tomorrow and Instagram was the modality, I've already got, enough followers there, and I could easily continue to build them if I focused my attention there, which I don't. I might do a post on Instagram, once a week. Whereas if Instagram, I'll just say that again, if Instagram became, for me, the #1 medium, then I would make sure that I put all my energy into it. So I hope that makes sense to answer your question, Deborah.